Jimmy Thái xin kính chào quý vị khán giả của đài VNTV San Diego. Kính thưa quý vị, trong phòng thu của chúng tôi hôm nay có một khuôn mặt rất là trẻ trong politics của San Diego, đó là Councilman Chris Kate của District 6, tức là cái district đó bao gồm vùng Convoy, Mesa và phía nam của thị trấn Rancho Penasquitos. Hello, Chris.
Hello, thanks for having me today.
All right, great to have you back again. Now, let's share with our audience what have you accomplished at the councilman since being elected last November.
So far in office, we've been here about 168 days, and we've been working hard for our residents of District 6 thus far. One of the big things that we were able to accomplish right out of the gate was to sign an agreement with our police officers and giving them a new 5-year labor contract that will allow for the ability for us as a city to recruit and retain quality police officers to look after our neighborhoods in District 6 and throughout the city.
That's important.
It's absolutely important. One of the big things that we heard of on the campaign trail was the fact that we want to make sure that we have officers out there doing their job, making sure we're keeping our neighborhoods safe, looking after our senior citizens, our youth, getting to and from school. And that was a big importance for not only myself coming on the council, but also working with the mayor's office and having the ability to attract quality police officers in our city.
Great.
Yes.
Now, what else besides that?
Some other ideas that we've been working on are from a budgetary standpoint. How do we be most effective with the taxpayer dollars? And one of the things that we looked at was a new approach to budgeting called zero-based budgeting. And everyone does this in their home or their business, where they look at what their expenses are going to be for the upcoming year and figure out, okay, what do I need to get through this upcoming year and budget accordingly? Well, at the city, we haven't been doing that, and we don't do that. What we do is take whatever our expenses were for the last year, make a couple adjustments, and that's our new budget for the upcoming year. We don't take an approach where we look at how much are we going to actually spend on services for the upcoming year. And one of the things that we introduced working with our fellow council member, Scott Sherman, was asking the mayor to take this type of approach to budgeting because it's the most effective way to spend taxpayer dollars, your taxpayer dollars, most effectively and efficiently, making sure that we can justify that we're going to spend X amount of dollars on this program or this service for the upcoming year. So we introduced that, and hopefully that's something we can get off the ground rolling in the upcoming budget year as we look at how we're spending taxpayer dollars in our budget.
Good. So that's fiscal responsibility.
Absolutely, fiscal responsibility. And then the last thing that we're looking at right now too is from an entrepreneurial standpoint, how are we allowing for more economic growth, more jobs, more opportunities for our small business owners here in District 6 and throughout the city? What I like to say is that District 6 is a microcosm of the city as a whole. We have a number of industries in our district, whether it's the life sciences, whether it's our industrial manufacturing, corporate business hubs here, or our small business owners, our restaurants, our craft beer industry. These are all businesses that are seen throughout the entire city. What are we doing as a city to make it easier for them to create that one additional job or to get through city processes and permits easier and faster? How are we limiting the fee increases that we're seeing on these folks who have to deal with this every single year and paying thousands and thousands of dollars in fees? How can we make it easier for them to not have to pay that much money to operate their business? So we've done a good job in this upcoming budget in limiting the amount of fee increases, even reducing some fees that business owners have to deal with on a daily basis, and making it easier for them to interact with us as an office and the city as a whole so they can do their jobs better and they can hire that one additional employee so we can reduce our unemployment rate here in San Diego.
Wow, having new jobs is certainly important for small
Absolutely.
business. That's good. Now, so you've been very busy for the last 150-something days, Chris. Now, what's your plan for the rest of 2015 and the rest of your term?
Absolutely. So there are 4 key areas that we're focused on as an office and advocate on behalf of the residents of District 6. The first one has to do with public safety. It's making sure that we have the officers on the street to maintain the quality of life in our neighborhood. That's extremely important. That's something that is a fundamental responsibility of government, is making sure that the services and the residents of our city are taken care of. So that's the one thing we're going to continue to monitor and track even after this contract that we agreed to, that we are hiring officers, that they're quality officers, they're getting the funding they need to make sure they can do a good job in our city. The second issue that we look at is infrastructure. We all know it. We see it every single day. It's the quality of our streets, the quality of our sidewalks, our buildings, our libraries, our parks, making sure that we're setting aside the necessary amount of money to maintain our infrastructure as a city. And one of the things we're doing in this upcoming year, beginning July 1, as part of the mayor's initiative, is we're going to be repairing 300 miles of roads this upcoming year, which is double the amount we've seen in recent years. So 300 miles, and the overall goal is to repair 1,000 miles of streets over the next 5 years. That's about a third of what we have in our city, a little more than a third. We have nearly 3,000 miles of streets in our city. We're gonna repair over a third of that in the upcoming 5 years. So that's a big deal for us as a city. Everyone sees it every single day when you drive and drop your kids off at school. You see the quality of our streets have deteriorated over the last few years, and we're trying to change that. The third issue we're looking at is economic growth. I talked about it a little bit, is making sure that we are doing what we can to increase the amount of jobs, increase the amount of businesses, the amount of entrepreneurs that are coming up in our city and our district. And what can we do to streamline that, to plan for the future, and make sure that folks are doing what they can to maintain that entrepreneurial spirit, to want to start a small business. How do we influence that and maintain that increased motivation to do that? That's what we're working on in our district and in our office. And the last issue has to do with civic engagement. One of the things we want to make sure of, especially with the API community in our district, about 34% of our district are API folks. We want to make sure that they're doing what they can to register to vote, as well to be active in their communities by serving on a board or a commission. And we've done a good job in the last about 4 or 5 months since we've been in office in identifying folks within our community who want to serve. We've gone through the process now for a few folks who are now serving on a board or commission at the city. And it's letting people know that these opportunities do exist. We have hundreds of boards and commissions in our city, that these things do exist. They need people to be engaged and active. If you're involved in your PTA or in your community town council, to be engaged from a city perspective and to do that. And so we have a couple of programs to go out and showcase that these opportunities do exist, and we want people to be engaged and active within city governments. And hopefully we can encourage that, increase that in the next 4 years.
Awesome. Now let's talk specifically about the Asian Pacific Islander community that you represent.
Absolutely.
Besides just District 6 in general. So what board position have you appointed these Asian Pacific Islanders?
One of the big one that we were able to do right out of the gate was to our county water authority. We were able to have appointed a member of the API community to serve on a board that outlines how we use water within our region. It's a very important board. So we were able to appoint her to this board, which is made up of members throughout the entire county of San Diego. And so we got able to have her at one of our spots. We're also able to nominate someone to serve on our Park and Rec board, which is very important because obviously parks and recreation centers are an important part of our daily lives. And it's important to have someone from the API community serve on that board, so we're able to nominate that person, as well as on what we call a parking advisory board. It looks at parking situations for businesses, nonprofits, throughout our entire city. So these are very key boards, but we're always looking for new people to want to be engaged. And so I ask your viewers that if you want to serve and have public service, to contact our office and send us an area that you're interested in, and we will try to find a board that fits that specific role, whether it's through parks, whether it's through libraries, or through international affairs or senior citizens. Again, we have hundreds of boards and commissions that represent a number of different areas, topic areas that we need good people to serve on.
Awesome. So I'm pretty sure if anybody wants to serve, you will have the position for them, right?
Absolutely. We will find a right spot for them.
All right, that's pretty good because even you have been helping 3 people appointed to the boards. But when you look at that, the last Asian American serving in our city government was Tom Hom 50 years ago, right? So as our Asian American leaders now, how can you make sure that we don't have to wait another 50 years before we see another Asian face in politics?
One of the big things that I'm really proud of and what I want to accomplish in my 4 years is really engaging the youth in our community, especially the youth in the API community, and having them be engaged, understanding the process and how government works. And one of the big things that I tell our youth is that mentors don't find you, you find your mentor. And so I want to make sure that they are finding somebody that whatever role they want to serve, whether it's in business or especially in government, is that I can be a mentor and help develop our emerging leaders within our community and have them understand the process, my experience, what I went through, and try to mentor them through and making sure that they understand the importance of having people within the API community active in government and what that looks like, what it takes, and answering any questions that they have. And so I try to do as much as possible to reach out to our youth and try to mentor them, inspire them to become leaders within our community. And we have trailblazers. I mean, you talked about Tom Hom. He was a trailblazer. I wouldn't be here without the role that he played 50 years ago. But I agree that we don't want to wait 50 more years for the next person to serve on a city council within our API community. So anything I can do to aspire our youth and touch them early in terms of trying to be active and engaged in our community, that's what I hope to accomplish in my time in the city council.
Great, great. Now, the last question I have for you, you're relatively pretty young.
Thank you.
Compared to me, obviously.
No, not at all.
Now, you not even married yet. I know
not
you're
just
engaged
yet.
to Maria.
Correct, yeah.
We serve both on board of directors of the Asian American Professional.
Yes.
So I know Maria well. Congratulations, she's a great gal. You
appreciate that.
A great one there. Now, what's your last advice for younger generation that really want to follow your footsteps out there?
It's to understand the power of your voice, and that we as policymakers and elected officials listen to our community. But we need people to be engaged and talking to us and letting us how they feel on different subject areas. Otherwise, we don't know how people will react to the policy decisions that we make as elected officials and as a council. And so if there is no comments coming back to us, we don't know the impacts of our decision. So it's important for people to be engaged and let your elected official know, whether it's myself in District 6 or others throughout the entire city, that how you feel about certain issues, whether it's business issues or it's issues affecting your neighborhood or your park or your library, is to be active and engaged and tell your elected official how you feel about certain issues. Again, we won't know until you speak, but that's the most important thing, is understanding that you have a voice. And that showcases at the ballot box. And so if you aren't registered to vote, register to vote. We have an active campaign with our office, reaching out to folks from all different communities, especially within the API community, to register folks to vote. But not only that, is taking part in actually voting. And only about a third of APIs within our district voted in 2014. We need to increase that number dramatically, and there's an opportunity to do that. So that's what we're going to be looking for in the upcoming election year in 2016 and beyond, is not only getting people to register to vote, but also voting and taking part in the action to do it.
Wow, great messages, Chris.
Thank you, sir.
Everybody, our very handsome and talented councilman from District 6, Chris Case. Thanks for your time, Chris.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Dạ thưa quý vị, để xin được tóm tắt lại cái buổi phỏng vấn của chúng tôi với lần nghị viên Chris Cate, thì trong vòng khoảng 150 ngày vừa rồi, Chris đã làm được rất là nhiều việc cho cái quận 6 của chúng ta. Những cái điều cụ thể là người ta đã ký được cái hợp đồng với sở cảnh sát. Như vậy thì cái vấn đề safety của District 6 nó rất là safe. Thứ hai nữa là sửa chữa tất cả những cái đường phố đang bị hư hại, và người ta dự định sửa khoảng 300 dặm đường trong cái số 1.000 dặm đường mà người ta sẽ sửa. Và cái thứ ba nữa là anh sẽ giúp cho tất cả những cái hãng xưởng nhỏ, tức là small business, tại vì anh muốn những cái tiền đóng vô nó phải giảm đi để cho người ta có thể có nhiều tiền và ta mướn nhân viên nhiều hơn. Nhưng mà ba cái điều mà Jimmy xin quý vị lưu ý là trong cái buổi phỏng vấn là anh Chris nói chuyện thứ nhất là những cái người mà muốn theo đuổi cái sự nghiệp chính trường như anh á, thì cái người cố vấn sẽ không bao giờ đi tìm mình, và mình phải đi tìm những người cố vấn. Đó là chuyện thứ nhất. Chuyện thứ hai nữa là mình không thể nào mình ngồi mà mình đòi hỏi những cái gì xảy ra cho mình. Mình phải muốn có được cái gì thì mình phải tham gia. Mình phải tham gia vô tất cả những cái hội đoàn, tất cả những cái board của cái thành phố San Diego của mình. Và điều thứ ba mà anh Chris muốn nhấn mạnh với chúng ta là muốn cho cái cộng đồng người Á Châu của chúng ta trở thành một cái cộng đồng mà rất là hùng mạnh, thì chúng ta phải dùng cái lá phiếu của mình. Tức là cái power của cái voice power, cái vote. Thì ngay bây giờ mình chỉ có 35% là người Á Châu của mình đăng ký và mình đi bầu, còn ít hơn là 35% nữa. Như vậy trong những cái cuộc bầu cử kế tiếp, nếu mà quý vị muốn cho mình có một cái giọng nói của người Á Châu, thì chúng ta phải chúng phải đăng ký và chúng ta phải đi bầu. Và với phần tóm tắt như vậy thì Jimmy Thái xin kính chào quý vị và hẹn gặp lại quý vị trong chương trình kỳ tới. Xin chào tạm biệt.